All right, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen for everybody. All right, so today we are here to talk about farming, also known as geographic farming for real estate. So today we're going to go over basically what is farming, how to choose your farm, the marketing strategy and what to send to your farm, and the importance of consistency, because consistency is so very important, in farming. If you are not consistent, you are just going to waste your money. Okay, oh, sorry. So what is farming? So it's really a way of building your brand in a specific area or neighborhood. It is a way for you to become the neighborhood expert in an area and for you to reach people and get leads in an easy and effective way. It's effective and it's easy to do, but it's not a short-term strategy. Farming is going to be a long-term strategy, but it's a good way to reap the benefits of nurturing, cultivating leads. So you just have to plant the seeds and stay consistent with it in particular neighborhoods, and you can get listing leads like you would not believe. Or another, to piggyback off of that, it's effective if you are consistent. I'm going to say that word a lot today. Involved with the community, and also coming from contribution. You want to provide value to people. So it's not just going to be about sending out, generic messages. You need to have some sort of relevant information to provide to your farm. So it's, like I said, it's a long-term approach, but it's a way to stay top of mind with your community. So step one, the most important part is to choose your farm. The best farm that you can find is going to be your neighborhood. That is where your ties to the community are the strongest. So bare minimum, if you're farming nowhere else, make sure that you're at least farming your neighborhood. If you're not in a neighborhood and you're in a city or a borough, farm a square block, or not a square block, like a section. So if you're in a quadrant or in like the Southwest section, so that you have a 6 to 7 block radius where people are out and seeing you. You're walking your dogs, you're playing with your kids, you're getting coffee in that area. If it's in the city and you're in a high-rise apartment building or in a high-rise condo building, farm that whole building. Make sure that you are somewhere where people can recognize you and that you have experience. If you're looking for more places to farm, so if there's a neighborhood next to you, farm that particular neighborhood as well, because chances are they're going to see you out and about as well. Areas where you may have sold a few homes is a good farm as well. High producing agents likely have 3 to 4 farms that they're working with. And it's not just about the area or the city. You have to make sure that it's narrowed down for a few reasons. The first and foremost and most obvious is it's going to be really expensive if you are farming 600 homes in just one neighborhood, because you're going to be doing a few different ways, or you're going to be sending a few different types of information to them, and you want to make sure that the information that you're sending is on a consistent basis. And if you're spending $500 a month, it's not attainable for everybody. If you are in a neighborhood where you have single family homes, condos, and townhomes, try narrowing it down to just the one that you live in first, and then branching out from there. Make sure that if you are looking for another neighborhood that's not your own, that there is no other agent farming it at a high level, because you're just going to be competing for business. So a good way to do that is to door knock the neighborhood once. If you know somebody in the neighborhood, if your kids play sports, if you have friends that live in the neighborhood, ask them if they're receiving a lot of information, because you're going to want to know people in that neighborhood regardless, even if it's 1 or 2 people. Set well-defined boundaries. If you are farming an area that's not a neighborhood, make sure that you have that boundary in place so that when you're sending information, it's consistently getting to those people that you are trying to farm to. So another thing to consider with farming that's very important is the turnover rate. So the turnover rate is basically the number of homes in a farm that sell over any given time compared to the number of homes in the neighborhood. Usually that time frame is a year. And a good and easy way to calculate this is just taking the number of homes that have sold in that year in that neighborhood and divide it by the total number of homes. So if it's a neighborhood of 300 homes and 20 have sold, you're at 6.6%. You ideally want to find a neighborhood to farm with a turnover rate of over 6%. That's where it's going to be the most beneficial to you. A good rule of thumb is if it's not your neighborhood, to farm another neighborhood. Townhome and condo communities typically have a higher turnover rate than single family home communities, because the average time that people stay in a townhome or a condo is 5 to 7 years, rather than a single family home, which is usually 10 plus years. So you definitely want to consider farming one of those neighborhoods because you're going to have a higher turnover. And I mean, there are turnover or areas that you can find with really high turnover rates. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be the only agent getting all of those leads. I have a coworker that farms a neighborhood, and it's only 140 homes, but the turnover rate is 15%, but she gets 31% of those, which means she's getting 20 homes a year out of the 60 that I think sell a year. So you want to find a place that you can build your brand on top of where, people may know you. So neighborhood wise, like I said, at the bare minimum, if you aren't farming your neighborhood, you're losing business, because that's where people know you. You have already established a relationship and a tie to the community there. So if nothing else, and if you get nothing else from this today, make sure that you are starting to farm your neighborhood, even if there are other agents there, because chances are they don't live in the neighborhood like you. You're not going to compete directly with them. Okay, I wanted to make sure. Hold on. Create your strategy. So this is second most important. This is your overall marketing strategy and ways to hit your farm, because the importance of being consistent, the importance of consistency is not the only thing that you need to think of. You need to use statistics properly. You need to provide the value and relevant information, and you always have to have a call to action. Obviously, you need to know the competition. You need to know the neighborhood that you're farming. You need to know all of the comps in the neighborhood. You need to also know how long they sit on the market, so that if anyone asks you, they know that they're coming to the neighborhood expert, and you have the ability to overcome any objections that may be within the neighborhood. So one of the first and easiest ways that you can farm is direct mail. Yes, direct mail is not dead, as you will find out in another webinar that we have. It is an easy way to reach out to your farms. And we all know that there are people out there that might send 1 or 2 postcards a year to a particular neighborhood or to a farm. That is throwing your money away. It is a complete waste. The only reason that I notice is because I'm in the business, and most people that aren't in the business aren't even going to notice that they get this. They're throwing it away. We know that you need to actually touch a person 6 times before they can associate you with what you're actually sending them as the real estate agent. A good way to do this is neighborhood updates. So your market stat updates, but not every month. This is something that is so important. Most people want to know what's going on in their neighborhood. They want to know what's selling, but doing it every month is just too repetitive. They don't care that much unless they're looking to sell in the next 1 to 2 months, which is going to be a small percentage of them, and it's just going to go right into the trash. So you want to actually provide the information at the correct times. Usually spring market, fall market. You could even do it quarterly to do those market stats. But unless they're a type A person, they don't want that every single month. You can supplement just sold or just listed. So if you have sold one in the neighborhood, definitely send out the just listed, definitely send out the just sold, because people want to see that you are, providing for them. Essentially, you are going to be the neighborhood expert because you're selling the homes. If you don't have a listing there, but there is one for sale, look up the laws of where your area is, because you can usually send out just listed and just sold for that particular home, or not usually. You might be able to, depending on the disclaimer that you put on the postcard. But that's a good way to, because people do care about what is for sale in their particular neighborhood. Providing relevant information. So, like I said, most people are not going to be looking to sell. Not 90% of your neighborhood is not selling right now. So providing information that's relevant to them, because just throwing, are you thinking about selling, down their throats is not going to work. So we have a few here that we've used in the past. What is your net worth? Someone who might be looking to move, but not right at this moment, that might have been in their home for 10 years, is probably going to call you on this one to get like a free neighborhood update. How healthy is your home? This is one that we have found great success with. A lot of people don't realize that they should probably do an inspection every 5 years on their home, 5 to 10 years, or if they've been in their home for 30 years, they don't know that their roof is leaking or that there's something under their basement crawl space that they need to check out. This is a huge benefit to them, because they're thinking about what they could do to their home now that could make a big impact later. Or people that need to know about auditing their homeowner's insurance. A lot of people also don't realize that that's something that they should do every few years. So relevant information, market updates, local events are huge too. Doesn't need to be your event. An event about a festival or a parade, or something that's going on in the town, especially now where everyone is all about local, and supporting the community. Something that's going to happen, especially if it's like family friendly, put together a mailing and send information out about that, because people are going to see it and recognize you as the person that is sending it. Put your headshot on every single thing so that people they know your face, so that if you're out to eat, they can say, oh, I got your postcard. You want to hit them the minimum of every other month. We suggest every month, but if you are just starting out and you wanted to just, for budgeting purposes, minimum of every other month. And there are different areas or different platforms that you can use, like Vistaprint. I know Keller Williams has Command that you can order them through. You can even order your postcards through Canva. So there are different mediums that you can use that you can actually, select the region that you're looking to send it to without actually getting all of the addresses off of the multiple listing service. So look into those. But yes, direct mail, huge. Popeyes are also one of the most effective types of farming, because you are providing them with something that is valuable to them, and they can't ignore it, because it's going to be on their door. So unlike a postcard, which might get thrown out, the Popeye, they are seeing right when they get home. It's, do not put them in mailboxes. That is mail fraud. But something that is going to, that they're going to enjoy. So we just did one, the fall season and the soap, but that does not necessarily need to be what you do. You can find cheaper avenues. I actually, for my farm, is a little bit larger. So I did small 1 ounce pumpkin spice flavored soaps that I got off of Etsy for like 75 cents each. And then you can stick it in the bag and you can stop by at every neighbor's house. This is also a great time to put in or stuff it with a market stats. With these, we always recommend putting them in like one of those, I call them like the newspaper baggies, where you have a clear bag that can actually hang on the door. So you put in your fun information about the market stats. You can put in information about events in this. So you can do a lot with the Popeyes, where it's not just your your cute, trendy little item that you're giving them. But this is just a way for people to recognize you as the neighbor that is stopping by with something that they would enjoy. We recommend doing these at least 4 times a year, bare minimum twice a year. And one of those times throughout the year should be you actually door knocking. We know that everyone gets busy, especially in the spring and the fall. So going out during the summertime, and actually when people are in their driveways or out playing or walking the dogs, and actually stopping by with something for them and giving it to them, and chatting with them, talking about how you're always there if they need anything, whether it's real estate related or not. A lot of people that I know will take their kids on the wagons and go out and do it, so that people can see that you are a part of the community. This is such an effective way to go out and farm your neighborhood, not just your neighborhood, other neighborhoods. Another easy one that we've done is for St. Patrick's Day, stopping by and popping by with a $1 scratch-off lottery ticket. People love that. I mean, it's something that they are going to remember you for, and that's really the goal, is to just have a presence in the neighborhood and be remembered. Neighborhood events. These are also super, super effective. And they don't have to be expensive. They do not have to even cost you a dime. We recommend doing these 1 or 2 times a year, and you can partner with a local business to help sponsor the events as well. So we've done, COVID-friendly neighborhood Easter egg hunt. One huge hit that we have done recently is the drive-in movie night. We had a neighborhood courtyard where we actually set up a projector that we rented. It was like $200, got it sponsored by a local business, and the neighbors loved it. With the food truck with the food truck, we had, I had a colleague do this with their neighborhood, and the neighbors loved it, and it didn't cost him a dime. All he did was set up the food truck to stop by, and they all came out, got food, purchased it themselves, but it was just an event to stay tied with the community. And it doesn't need to just be your neighborhood where you do this. You can do it in other neighborhoods as well. You can help host a garage sale where you pay for all of the signage in a neighborhood. Small things that don't need to be huge events, but are still a time when you're actually going out and meeting people in that neighborhood. And another reason that these work really well is because you are getting in front of the people at least 2 times when you're doing an event. 1, to invite them to the event, and 2, when you're actually at the event and talking and communicating with everybody. So huge event, or not huge, events are very effective for farming, whether it's your neighborhood or not. Okay, social media and internet presence, also very important. So with social media, you should bare minimum have a Facebook business page and an Instagram business page. Most people are going to look you up on social media before they look you up on Google, especially the millennials, because that is our generation. And the millennials are making up most of the marketplace right now, in pretty much every market. So having that presence there so that people can find you if they do get your information is important. A farm-focused website is not a bad idea either. So if you have, and this is kind of intertwined with a Facebook group for your neighborhood. For your neighborhood, if you do not have a Facebook group or a website that people can chat on, set one up. This is super effective because you can reach out to everybody with the Popeye or door knocking and say, hey, wanted to set up this Facebook group for the neighborhood so that we can discuss anything that's changing with the bus stop, with local events, if we wanted to do garage sales, if there are concerns, so we can all communicate. This is going to make you the person that actually creates the Facebook group, which is effective, but also keeps you top of mind because you can always communicate with people on that group. And then if you're farming other neighborhoods, having that farm focused website is good so that people can actually click on or scan a QR code of your neighborhood farm website. And then they can look at the stats there. So a lot of times if you're doing a postcard that has information about an event on it or something that's just, not the market stats, having a QR code to a farm focused website where people can simply scan and look at the stats for their neighborhood is also like a great idea, especially now where everyone's doing it with all of the restaurants. Most restaurants, I think, are doing the QR codes. It's just something that has kind of come back into style, and it's a great way to get people to come to your website. Be a part of local groups on social media, Facebook groups. Another great one is the Neighbors app, the Nextdoor app, the Ring app. All of those different apps that you can be on so that you can also stay top of mind. And that's not saying to go on and say, I'm your local real estate expert, call me if you need anything, but just to kind of chime in here or there and have a presence within the community. Sponsoring local events is a great idea too. So if you are, if there's a sporting event or a downtown neighbor day or some sort of event that is being posted on social media, sponsoring it or co-sponsoring it with a business is a really wonderful way to get your business out there. That means setting up a table and talking to people and handing out something small like a keychain. It will definitely get people in front of you. Another great tool is the Facebook targeted ads. This is going to be for more of your higher level once you've started building that relationship with your farm. And it doesn't have to be 365, 12 months out of the year. A great time to do these targeted ads are in the spring and the fall, and for those particular markets where you might be too busy to pop by, but you're still getting your face out there. Or right now, specifically for your neighborhood and the neighborhoods that you're that are maybe really close to you that you're farming, having a targeted ad that says, are you thinking about selling in the spring? Call me. I'd be happy to tell you what you can do to prep your home for the market. That's a really good ad for the farm around you because people are starting to think about, oh gosh, like, am I going to miss the boat with this crazy market right now? So definitely start those. And it doesn't need to be big budgets. I'm talking like $2.50 a day, $5 a day, run it consistently for like 2 weeks and see what you might get out of it. Because guaranteed if people aren't reaching out to you, they're still seeing it. And you can actually track that on Facebook, but make sure that you set correct boundaries so that it's not going out to people that you don't need to see it. And to piggyback off of that, having a strong social media presence, you can't have a Facebook business account or an Instagram business account and post on it once or twice a month, or even once a week. You need to have something that people are going to look at and say, wow, they are a professional, or, oh my gosh, like they're sharing good information, something that they're going to follow you for. You want to make sure that you have posts that are relevant to them. And posts that are going to be, people are going to think of you. So just sold, just listed, you should be throwing that information on your social media. You want people to say, oh my gosh, Alex sells homes all the time because I always see her on my Instagram feed. Or, you want to be present with your stories that you're walking through a house. If it's legally allowed in your region, that you can post another house. So you want to be top of mind and you want people to see that you're everywhere. And that's the point of all of these different mediums. Between the print, between the social, between the online, and the Popeye, you have to meet people where they're at. You need to be in front of them at all times. And a lot of people may not care about postcards or check their mail, or they get so much junk mail that you get thrown out, but they still see you passing by on that postcard, and eventually it'll register with them. Like I said, 6 times minimum is when you need to see, or you need to hit people for them to register you as that agent. And step 3 is to create a plan, and you have to stick with it. You have to be consistent. Like I said, if you're doing 1 or 2 of these things and then you aren't being consistent with it, you're throwing your money out the window. People are not going to realize that. I mean, you could be the neighbor and you could talk to your neighbors every single day. And if you aren't sending them real estate related information or staying on top of them, or, being that real estate expert, when they have someone that is looking to buy or sell, they're not going to think of you. Or when they're thinking of buying or selling, they probably won't think of you. You need to stay consistent. You need to be professional, and you need to be branded. Everything needs to flow in one cohesive brand, so that you're sending out information and they're seeing it and it looks like, we all know some of the brokerages where they only use like black and white or red and white or purple. Like, you need to stay, and it doesn't need to be with that brokerage colors. I personally do not use it. I like my own colors that people are going to recognize me for. So you need to stay branded and you need to stay on top of them. So like I said, monthly postcard, you need to, monthly at the minimum, every other month. A quarterly pop-by, if you get too busy and you can't do it quarterly, at least twice a year, and at least 2 events a year. So then you're hitting people, and I'm talking bare minimum, 10 times a year. And 2 of those are going to be really beneficial to you because it's going to be an event, hopefully, and a pop-by where you're in front of them. So these are we found that you can actually get such success from this. I personally farm a borough and I find success in this. I have team members, and, like we said, we're full-time agents. So we're not just throwing this out there. We know what works. And we don't want everyone to reinvent the wheel. So this is why we're sharing it. We also know that it's difficult to come up with this type of information. And we know that, staying branded can also be difficult. So we've created a plan too, with our marketing community, called Blink Marketing Agency, where we provide monthly pop-bys, monthly postcards to send to your sphere, events, and the ways to implement them so that you don't have to come up with this information. Now, do all of our agents implement them every single month? No, but we give them to you every month so that if you wanted to do a pop-by this month, you have the option to. So I know I just went through a ton of information. Does anyone have any questions? I'll open it up to, chat box, anything. All right. This is.
I do have a question, actually. Yeah. I just started using the level 1 Blink. So for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been posting on there, and I've actually been getting a better response. It looks better than anything I've ever done. I've been doing this 30 years. It's not my thing. So I finally broke down, and I'm having the professional do that side of it. So you were talking about the branding. Mm-hmm. Is there a section on there specifically that I need to dig into that I can set up all my branding, or is that something that's like a level 2 thing that you guys do? Or
so for branding, we do have the option in listing tools if you needed a particular like if you don't have a logo, for instance, to create a logo, and then making sure that logo and that your brokerage logo is on everything that you send out, and with your headshot. I don't care how much you don't like your headshot. Always put your headshot on everything, and have it updated, right? Because you want people to recognize you when you're farming and when you're walking around the neighborhood. So we do have that section in there. We also have an option that we're currently building out. If you wanted us to create a full brand for you, where we create it, we can certainly help you with that as well.
So that my signature page, my email page, my Facebook, like everything would match up.
Everything would match up. Yeah. So your email signature should match with Like if you have a Facebook cover photo, because you want people to recognize you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something I need to reach out to you about separately?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had it on our last website, but we didn't get a chance to put it on our new website. So we're still working on it. But yeah, if you reach out to us, we'll definitely send you some information on it.
Just go through Blink and do it?
Yep. You can email us directly if you like. And yeah, one of us will get back to you.
Great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Hey, Alex, I got a question for you here.
Hey, Terry.
Really nice to see you. So I've been using you guys for about 6 months. It's been phenomenal. The response has been overwhelming, just with some consistency on past clients that I haven't reached out to. So that's been huge. Question, do you recommend a particular like mailing, whether it be Vista or Canva, one that actually seamlessly sends out all of your marketing information? Which one works the best?
I love Vistaprint, especially for farms and for areas where you have you have the information already, like the contact information, because once you use Vistaprint and you upload that Excel sheet of the contact list, you don't ever have to do it again. So it makes it really easy if you're going in monthly to just upload your design as a JPEG and then click that list that's already a saved list, and then it sends it directly. So that's the one I like. I haven't used Canva in a while, but I know people also like Canva. But Vistaprint just makes it easy because they save my list, and I don't want to have to deal with going in and trying to find my contacts and everything like that.
Okay, nice. And then you probably have this, but in your different levels, if we want to just turn the keys over to you entirely, is this something that for a fee you guys would do, or is that like a case by case? Like if you want to start doing
that, we didn't, when we created Blink, we didn't want to take people's contact lists and do your database. We just felt like it was a better idea to have you do that from the start. So we're still looking into, that right now, but at the moment we don't have that option.
You can't do my Popeyes. That's not something you can.
No, but we are working on a masterclass for mail buys, because we know that a lot of people, especially now with how 2020 has gone, sending out and mailing out your Popeyes instead of going door to door. It's a little bit more expensive, but for
Obvious reasons
that are busy, yeah.
Makes sense. Cool. Thanks, Alex. Nice job.
Welcome. Thanks. All right. Well, and if anyone ever needs anything from us, we're always available. You can email us directly at info@blinkmarketingagency.com. And we always have the mail by class. The mail by class it's not in this master class yet, but we're working on it for early next year. We wanted to start with the basics, and then we're going to branch out on it. So every month we're doing a master class. Right now we're doing one every week just to ramp up for 2021. But moving forward after this, look out for our master class on something every month. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. And like I said, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Shara, who you saw last time and we'll see next week, and Angie and myself are always available. So enjoy the afternoon, and we'll see you next week.